Behold, a multiverse of accursed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Leonardo leads. He's the leader in blue. He does anything it takes to get his ninjas through. And for generations, he's been the iconic sword-wielding leader of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But what makes Leonardo stand out significantly from his brothers is the fact that he's never really written consistently. With every new incarnation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes a new interpretation of Leonardo, each with their own flaws, relationships, and family dynamics. So, let's look lovingly at the lasting legacy of our limitless leader, Leonardo. There's not enough people with originality, so here I am to save the day, Jaynalysis.
Leonardo, his swordsmanship is unmatched.
In 1987, we got our first on-screen look at Leonardo. Here, he plays the simple role of leader. Even the theme song just kinda lumps him into that category, while his brothers get the more descriptive does machines, cool but cruel, and party dude. On the surface, this Leonardo is pretty generic. He's really good at everything, he embraces Japanese culture, occasionally, and he reads a lot. Through all 10 seasons of the show, Leo never does anything to stand out, and the writers must have noticed this, because they constantly try to give him quirks as the series progresses, but none of them ever stick. In the episode Leonardo Lightens Up, after being zapped by the personality modifier, Leo starts acting incredibly selfish and irresponsible, pulling pranks on his brothers and not caring about being a hero. After he's turned back to normal, the lesson given is that sometimes we need people like Leonardo, no matter how strict or bossy they may be. Now, what exactly does the personality modifier do? Donnie says that it hasn't been perfected yet, but is it supposed to make a person the opposite of who they already are? Or does it bring out hidden desires that a person already has? Does Leonardo secretly wish to be as fun-loving as his brothers, but feels he never can because of his responsibility as their leader? Does he fear not being taken seriously unless he becomes a person consumed entirely by his own inhibition? We really gotta read between the lines for this Leonardo. The only other point of interest I could think of is his relationship with Lotus Blossom, from the episodes Beware the Lotus and Farewell Lotus Blossom. Leonardo catches feelings for her after she defeats him in combat.
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
This may be the only character trait that carried over to another series, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, we do not belong here. Above.
Yes, Master Splinter.
Yes, Master Splinter.
What?
In 1990, we got our first film adaptation of Leonardo. This is the first time the Turtles were each designed differently to reflect their personalities a bit more, a feature that would carry over from this point on. This is also the first on-screen depiction of the iconic rivalry between Leonardo and Raphael.
I never said I was a great leader.
Well, you sure act like it sometimes.
Yeah? Well, you act like a jerk sometimes, you know that?
Which makes sense considering how much of a change was made to Raph's personality, but that's a video for another day. Anyway, the Leonardo we get in these movies is a lot sterner and more spiritual. Meditation has become a bigger part of who he is, and him having mystical intelligence helps separate him from Donatello's technical intelligence. Another great thing the movies brought to Leo's character was humor. He's a teenager, for crying out loud. Just because he's the leader doesn't mean he can't have any fun. That being said, his methods of leadership are brought into question a lot more in this series. When plans fail, Leo has a tendency to take his anger out on his brothers, even when their failure is kind of his fault. Fortunately, as the movies progress, he does mellow out. That is, until the fourth movie. Yes, 2007's TMNT is technically the fourth movie in the franchise. After being sent on an isolated journey of self-discovery, Leo becomes quite the perfectionist, and this only makes things worse between him and Raph, ultimately resulting in the two fighting. What's worth mentioning is that Leo taunts Raph a lot during this fight, even going so far as to say that he's better than him. Fortunately, Leonardo loses the fight, ultimately learning a much-needed lesson in humility. Overall, this Leonardo is a huge improvement over the previous interpretation. Though he never loses his kind and considerate nature, he's given a bit more edge to round out his personality.
You break the bricks with your will. Breaking the bricks is about focus and making a precise strike. I can't concentrate if you're gonna keep blabbing and blowing stuff up!
In 1997, we got our first, and as of writing the script, only live-action TV version of Leonardo. Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation is easily one of the weirdest things the franchise has to offer, featuring memorable things like the first female Ninja Turtle, Venus de Milo, Raphael's transforming Psy staff, that one time where they meet the Space Power Rangers, and wonderful zingers like...
Up, second floor, booty call!
Anyway, in this series, Leonardo... Wait, where's Leo's other sword? Probably hiding under his do-rag, am I right? Look, all you need to know about The Next Mutation Leonardo is that he has a weird love triangle with Raphael and Venus, he had a yellow bandana in promotional material for the show, and any lesson he learns about being a better leader is immediately forgotten the next episode. When it comes to character, they didn't really try in this show, so why should I? In 2003, we got the most powerful version of Leonardo. Seriously, he's beaten all his brothers and Master Splinter in combat, he's single-handedly taken down a number of Shredder-level threats, and he can turn into a dragon. But just when you think he might be too perfect to be interesting, the show does something pretty clever. Leonardo spends a majority of the first 3 seasons undefeated, and even if he has to retreat, he'll just come back and win next time. But at the end of Season 3, Leo suffers a loss so grand that it causes him to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not long after that he starts taking out his anger on everyone around him, even Master Splinter, who he respects so highly. Leonardo's so used to being the best that he just can't cope with not being good enough. He gets legitimately afraid of ever losing again, and he slowly works his way back to being confident, fearless, and in control, but a bit more cynical than before. Now that right there is an interesting character arc. What happens when the ace loses? As far as him being the leader is concerned, well, I'll let Mikey take this one.
I think all of you should just lay off the poor guy. I mean, it can't be fun, always being the responsible one, and we're the ones who really benefit, because Leonardo is busy being responsible enough for all of us.
And as for his personality, he at one point mentions that no one is too far from redemption, not Karai, or even her father, the Shredder. And in battle, he holds on to the Bushido moral code. This right here is Leonardo at his peak. But is he the best written Leonardo? Let's continue.
Those guys have no idea what kind of pressure I'm under, and all they do is complain. Is it too much to ask for a simple thank you?
In 2012, Nickelodeon gave us our first insecure Leonardo. Without removing any of his previously established determination and spirituality, this series explored Leonardo's leadership role in ways that no other series does. He lets his emotion get in the way, he doubts his own credibility, and he rarely gets the respect he deserves from his brothers, which only add to his insecurities. This gets so bad that Leo gives the leadership role to Raph in the episode New Girl in Town, which fails miserably, by the way. The show makes every effort to demonstrate why Leo was appointed leader by Master Splinter. Despite his insecurities, he never lets his enemies overwhelm him. That is until...
My name's Karai. Huh? See you around.
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
Yeah, Leo falls for Karai after she defeats him in combat, which is only made worse once we discover that Karai is actually Master Splinter's biological daughter in this series, making her his half-sister or step-sister. Yeah, it's weird and kinda gross. She constantly betrays him, but Leo just keeps coming back. Eventually, she does become a hero and the two fight alongside each other. Through the 5 seasons of the show, Leo goes through a very well thought out journey of self-discovery and what it means to be a leader, all while being a snarky, sci-fi loving teen. He goes through the worst of the worst, but he still comes out on top. He also goes through 3 voice actors, Seth Green, Dominic Catrimbone, and Jason Biggs? Yeah, that Jason Biggs. And if you think that's weird...
Thanks, guys. Real team effort.
In 2014, we saw our second film adaptation of Leonardo, this time voiced by Johnny Knoxville. Yeah, that Johnny Knoxville. But only in the first movie. In the second movie, he's voiced by his motion capture actor, Pete Plozek. Of all the Leonardos, this one is easily the most inconsiderate, often acting cold-hearted and putting down his teammates.
You may know a lot about strategy, but you know nothing about feelings.
Ha! You wanna know the one thing I am feeling? We may be brothers, but we are not a team.
Since there were only ever 2 movies in the series, it's hard to get a full grasp on him. He lacks the spirituality of his former selves, so he seems exclusively driven by guilt and nothing more. It's a shame we never got a 3rd movie in the series. Maybe it could have explored what a more aggressive Leonardo could become.
Looks like these fish are... Wait for it, you're gonna love this. All washed up. Boom!
And in 2018, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gave us the most deviant Leonardo. For the first time ever, Leonardo isn't the eldest brother. Because of this, he doesn't carry any of the responsibilities of being a leader. Instead, he's a wisecracking strategist who insists that he's the face of the team, but has no interest in leading it. But beneath all of this comes a very interesting addition to Leonardo, his guile. Leo outsmarts and manipulates villains into doing things they wouldn't normally do, but with this newfound genius comes a great deal of pride. What kind of mellows out his pride, however, is his weapons switch. Leo begins the series with twin katanas, but then starts using a mystical odachi, capable of creating portals. When Leo uses it right, that is. He does get better as the series progresses, and so does his ego. As far as his spirituality is concerned, this series actually emphasizes that part of ninjutsu for all 4 turtles, each getting a unique ability while activating their Hamato Ninpo. Leo's involves teleporting anything he desires to the location of his katanas. Honestly, gang, this series is pretty wild. It tries to be a prequel, but it deviates significantly, but that's not a bad thing. Let me know which Leonardo is your favorite. Leonardo is my favorite Ninja Turtle, and anytime I think of the leadership type, I always think of him. It wasn't until making this video that I realized there's a lot more spiritual stuff going on with Leonardo. And fun fact, I actually grew up watching all of these series, except for Rise. But watching Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was actually pretty fun. But like, what's up with Casey Jones? Are April and Casey still gonna hook up? Speaking of hookup, be sure to follow my social medias, but especially Twitch if you want to see me live stream. While you're at it, be sure to follow the Junior and Marcus Talk podcast, where we talk about just about anything. If you're already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to my backup channel, Jaynalysis Jr., in case anything bad happens to this one. And finally, please check out the merchandise. Every purchase supports this channel. And Discord. So, which other character deserves this kind of treatment? Fred from Scooby-Doo? Or like the Red Ranger from Power Rangers? All of them? Or like maybe Casey Jones or Michelangelo or April O'Neil? They've gone through a lot of changes. Raphael and Donatello would also be pretty cool. There's a lot to do with Ninja Turtles. Let me know in the comments down below. Until then, I'll leave you with this.